Welcome to the Rat Hole for another episode of The Whole Conversation. Today's guest, Brett Lockery from Silence and Solace, and we're going to pick his brain and figure out what makes them tick. What's up, Brett?
Not much, man. How you doing, Jared?
Doing all right. It's a lovely Saturday morning here. What's the weather up there for you guys?
We actually just got out of the huge snowstorm, so it's about 40 and sunny today, which is great because this past couple days it's been negative 40, so not complaining.
Yeah, I feel you there. There was a 40-degree shift yesterday in our temperature here, and it just completely ridiculous.
I can't believe how fast it happened. It was like 2 or 3 days, boom, we're frozen. 2 or 3 days, it's back to being 40 degrees. I can't believe it, but I'm not complaining because it's way warmer. So.
Oh yeah, totally. So, how long have you been playing guitar, man?
I've been playing guitar for 12, 13 years, something around there. But it's actually a funny story. I am allergic to nickel. So I've been playing guitar for 12 or 13 years, but it hasn't really been super frequent just because I can't play for too long at one time without having an allergic reaction of some kind. So I try to take it easy, but I mean, I've been playing for 12, 13 years.
Wow. What got you started doing that?
One of my dad's friends that he used to come over and bring his acoustic over and play Smoke on the Water, Enter Sandman, the classic riffs. And I was like, dude, I got to learn how to do this. So I kind of learned on his a little bit. And then, that started it. Like I started saving all my summer job money. Wanted to buy a little combo amp, a little baby guitar, a little starter kit. And it's been uphill from there. So.
Man, what would you say is your favorite guitar?
Dude, I don't think I have one. I've been on this search ever since I started to find like my soulmate instrument. I don't think I found it. I have gone through maybe 15 guitars since I started, and I usually just keep one or two with me. And I don't know, I get one, play it for a few months, and then I think, man, this is good, but this isn't the one yet, and then I sell it and get something else. So I'm kind of still searching. Yeah.
What's your current axe, your go-to, and your rig that you're using now?
Right now I'm playing an Ibanez RGD. I just got one of the last year's models. And then I'm playing, some people hate me, but I'm playing a Line 6 pod, a floor pod. I'm just going through a cab that way, man. It's just the convenience of having one device for all your stuff. I can't beat it,
Yeah, I could agree with that. I'm more of a plug and play guy myself. I usually use a Line 6. I have an old school Line 6 Spider 3 that has went with me everywhere. And I use that for a lot of things. And then I've got a Black Star half stack here, and then a Behringer and a Fender reverb, and I've got a bunch of different stuff, but I've always just been a plug and play guy. If I want a different sound, I'll just use a different amp or a guitar.
Yeah, see, I understand that side of it, and that's, a lot of people are like that, but for me, I think maybe it started because the first thing I ever played was a Line 6 or whatever pod, one of the little red bean pods,
Yeah, I used to have one.
The first things I ever played. So I think just starting with that, I kind of got used to the tweaking and all the settings and diving into all that stuff, and that's kind of how I started. So for me, it just kind of feels like home, a little bit more. I love half stacks. I love tube amps. They sound awesome, whatever. But for me, just the convenience beats everything else out for me, man.
Yeah. So for you guys, who does most of the writing process for you guys, or is it like a shared thing?
That would be me and the singer Andrew. We kind of split writing half and half. He plays guitar as well. He's been playing for a while. So him and I kind of get together on a weekly basis, and we, demo stuff out, work on ideas, whatever. And then our drummer, David, after I lay down MIDI drums and lay down the demo here, I'll send it to him, and he'll kind of finalize the drums, I guess, get, a final mix for drums that he likes. Because I'm not a drummer. I don't write drum parts. I'm not good at that stuff. So he's like, man, you're playing like 4 cymbals at once. How do you do that? So he trying to, makes it realistic and better, and then we kind of lay that down, and that's what we do. We take that right to our producer and go from there. So
yeah. Where do you guys do your main recording, and who you have producing your stuff? It sounds amazing.
There's a guy. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a guy that lives in Grand Rapids. So we're all from Holland, which is right on Lake Michigan. Maybe 30 minutes east of us is Grand Rapids. Everyone knows Grand Rapids. There's a guy who lives there. His name is Lee Albrecht. He just has a little studio in his living room, basically. He's got a drum room in the basement, and he's just got his setup in his house in his living room, and that's where we go to. Have you ever heard of Johnny Frank? You know who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lee is kind of an assistant or an understudy or apprentice to Johnny Frank, if you will, whatever. And kind of, he did that a couple of years ago and just kind of took off on his own. So he's been doing his own thing for, 5-6 years. But it's big, it's clear, it's and the whole process is super quick. I mean, we just lay down drums from the MIDI, and we have everything pretty much already learned. Like some people, you go in and you write songs in the studio, and it takes a little while to write all the parts. We are pretty meticulous about demoing all the stuff out before we do that. So we go in there, we have everything done, and we just record it. And we usually can knock out a song in 6-7 hours. So
that's the way to do it. You go in there prepared.
Yeah, and some people like going in there with a little bit of pressure and a little bit of like, ooh, we got to write this part now because we have to get it recorded before we're paying by the hour, so we got to work hard to get it done. Yeah. I understand that, but we've always just kind of been self-sufficient demoing on our own, so we kind of get it as best as we can here and then go from there. So
yeah,
but it's cool with Lee. He's getting into like doing video and everything as well, so he is kind of a jack of all trades, I guess. He does the song, and then the next weekend after we got the song done, we went and did the video. It's pretty quick, pretty easy, and he, since he's so involved in the writing and the recording, he kind of gets a vibe for the video as well. So it is really nice having him be the same person.
Yeah, and the video looked great, man. I mean, the video, the new one's for Tormentor, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, and that amazing song, really, really heavy. I mean, I love the lyrics for it. Everything about it, man, is just something that I just eat up when I'm listening to metal and things like that. Like, it just has everything that I want out of it. And the video looks great. The audio sounds great. You guys look really comfortable in the video too, so it lets you know that you're comfortable with the people you're working with, and I think that's important.
Yeah, and that's it's just nice because he does all the editing, and we kind of just told him, we said, hey, we have this attic, and if you want to come look at it, you can come look at it, or we can use your own space, whatever. But he just came out, and even the lighting wasn't ideal, whatever, but we made it work, and it turned out really good. So yeah, I really do appreciate that. What's funny about that song is we some bands like write 10 songs that are exactly the same. This for us was like, hey, we're going to try something a little bit heavier, a little bit meaner, a little bit more aggressive. But we write a little bit of everything. Like, there's a song we're working on now that is no screaming, just singing. It's still heavy, but it's a little bit different vibe, a little bit prettier. And we're working on some like riffier stuff. It's not so much breakdowns, but there's like riffs and guitar stuff going on. So it's like there's a little bit of everything, which is, I think, it's a blessing and a curse, I guess. We're trying to just write what we like, but at the same time, it's like, man, almost couldn't tell these two bands are the same band because it sounds like the songs are so different.
Yeah, I've been in a few bands where we prided ourselves on doing that, but somehow making them mesh and flow in a set and on a CD. And for anybody who doesn't know out there, Silence and Solace was the first featured band on the very first episode of the whole conversation. So if you've missed that, go back and check it out. The video for Tormentor plays at the end of the video. And since then, Silence and Solace has joined the Shed Rat family. So this is his first appearance right here since he's joined the Shed Rat family. And
yes, sir.
How do you guys feel about that?
We feel good, man. We're excited. I talked to a few of the different bands that work with you guys, and everybody has, I don't want to blow hot air up your skirt or anything, but everybody says something good about you, man. Everyone's so positive and says you're a good guy to work with. So it's like, it was really encouraging for me to hear every band that we talked to. They said, yeah, Jared is kick-ass. These people take care of us, and it's just a lot of fun. It seems like it's not a lot of pressure, It just seems like everyone's, I know you guys say it's a big happy family, but it just seems like we're a big happy family. Everyone just wants to hang out and help each other out. And like I said, everyone says good stuff about you. So we're really, really excited to join the family, be a part of it.
Well, that's good to hear, man. And we keep hearing nothing but positive feedback, and it's nothing but positivity getting thrown around. And there's constructive criticism, but no one is ever, negative about anything. Because I told everybody when you join, we're all about helping people, and you're not going to help anybody by breaking them down. You need to help build those people up. And if you've got, if you've got something, critical to say about that stuff, then maybe hit it with them and, be honest about it, but you don't have to tear them down and be like, man, that riff sucks. If I would do that, I'd do this or do that. Just hit them with your critique and then, give them a high five for still working on it and move on. And I think what we've got going on is a really, really positive thing, man. And I'm really excited to have you guys jump on and really get your wheels turning here. And, we're doing a lot of bigger things this year with all the different collabs and covers and releases. And I'm going to be making a lot of trips this summer and fall and physically, coming to hang out with everybody. And I'm going to be bringing all my cameras and stuff. And we're going to sit down and, get some good footage for everybody to use. And really, I want to really dive into everybody and really personalize the experience for the people that are paying attention.
Right. Yeah, that's cool, man. I don't want to interview you here. It's not really my show, but how did you get into this? You seem so dead set on helping people and being encouraging and just being a part of bringing other people up. What made you get into this label thing where you're doing what you're doing?
I grew up in a very musical family, and not only a very musical family, but a very positive family. I was raised in a small town in the church, and my family, they just weren't like the real judgmental people. They were just good old country people, and they would give you the shirt off their back. They would, if someone was stuck in the ditch 5 miles away, somebody would jump in their truck in a heartbeat and go get them. All the things that I talked to you about when we were on that phone call, the first time I talked to you, I just legit want to help, and that's just how I was raised, man. There's a lot of people around our small community that are like that, and I just want to preserve, and not only preserve, but expand the number of people that are like that, because the world's changed a lot, and I spent a lot of time growing up in music and playing music and having a lot of bad experiences and, different label experiences and touring experiences and things, and I wanted to keep all of the good stuff and get rid of all of the bad stuff. And I'm trying as hard as I can to keep nothing but the good stuff for everybody. And with the pay it forward, circuit that we're running, I throw in a little bit of money, and people use if it's not for free already, people use the money to pay someone else in the family to do the task that needs to be done. And then those people make their money. They use the money to pay someone else in the family. They use them, and it goes around in a circle. And every once in a while, I just throw in more money, and it just grows and it grows and it grows. And no one has to worry about reaching into their pocket, because we're all starving musicians, man.
Ain't that the truth, bro, for sure.
But yeah, that's how I got into it. Is I was just always raised around a lot of really good, just down to earth people, and I've always felt that I'm an entertainer, and I've always loved being in front of people and entertaining and not only making music but acting and things like that. But at the same time, with my positive attitude with things, I like to incorporate that and make that what drives me to do what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
I like to, because I've heard a lot that my attitude is very contagious. So I tend to rub off on people and get people, out of their little box and push them in a different direction and get them excited about things. And I've always been the captain of all the sports teams I've played on. I've always been real motivational, and people ask me for a lot of advice around the community and in my friends group and stuff. And like, I just feel like I need to be doing something bigger than just sitting around playing a guitar, and I'm just looking for like-minded people out there to want to jump on and make this thing bigger than all of us and here when we're gone.
I respect it, man. I respect it. I got a lot of respect for you, dude. That's good. We need it. I think that's one of the things the scene really needs, probably everywhere, is we just need more people on the same team,
Yes.
You got these cliques and we got these groups and everyone's in their own little families, and it's like, man, we're all supposed to be together on the same team. And I know it's, we got a lot of people and you don't know everybody and you don't like them or whatever. I understand all that, but at the end of the day, we all need to be a little more on the same page. But, how do you convince everyone to do that? I have no idea. But I guess, it probably just comes down to what you're doing right here, paying it forward for somebody somewhere, and someone will get affected and they'll pay it forward one way or another. And eventually, it'll take a while, but this stuff will spread definitely. So,
yeah. Well, it's only been about, I think, a little over 6 months for us. So we're spreading fast, and the word is definitely traveling, and we've got international inquiries and there's people internationally that we're working with as far as like custom guitars and promotion and things, and it's growing really fast. And I've been working on this idea. We came up with this idea for it when I was about 15, and it was me, my brother, and our best friend, and we wanted to do something that was like a one-stop shop. We'll make your merch, we'll book your shows and your tours. There's a venue here, you can record here, we got a place for you to stay. Then we'll promote everything. We'll have a TV show, we'll do this, and like, this was a long time ago. And, it took forever for us to get it right. We've tried it in the merch sector, we've tried it in the promotional sector, we've tried events, we've tried, and just it wasn't quite catching on because we live in a real small area. So I know if I can get something to catch on with large numbers in this small area that hates metal, it'll work in bigger areas with other people.
Then you're doing something right, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so basically after about 15 years of trying, I think that, we finally got a really good idea of what we want to do. And unfortunately, our friend isn't with us anymore doing any of this stuff, There's no bad blood or anything like that between us. Just he's moved away and married and got a big family and stuff. So he's doing great, and he still keeps up with us. But my brother and I are still doing this. He doesn't like to be on camera or do anything like that. So he's the behind-the-scenes guy. He's the ideas man a lot with me. We get in a think tank and really hash stuff out. And then I'm the guy that is like the face of all of it. So, that's just basically how I got into all of it and what it's all about. And I just, like I said, looking for like-minded people, man, just to share the love, because I hate that part of the scene that you get where it feels like almost every show you play is a battle of the bands.
Dude, you're so right, man. You're always trying to like outplay this other band. Oh, they have more likes on Facebook, but we can play a better show, or they got nicer gear, but our tone is better, this kind of thing. It's like, man, they shouldn't even be worried about that kind of stuff. We need to be, and I'm guilty of it too. I can't really speak because I do the same thing, but it is something that I'm aware of at least, and we do need to get away from that, or at least not let it get in the way of the bigger picture was, hey, we're all here having fun. We're doing the same thing. We're on the same mission. We can just be a team. We can be friends. It's all good,
Yeah, when you tend, like you said, you tend to do that too. Like when you do that, what do you think are the factors that drive that judgment or that attitude?
Dude, probably honestly, it's just jealousy, I think, because I think everyone thinks their shit don't stink, and they think that they're better than everybody. So I think, hey man, our music's better than these guys, but they got more likes, but we got better gear. So how does that work? That's not fair, you know? And I think everybody probably does that a little bit, and then it just compounds. If every 5 bands at the show do the same thing, then what do you got? You got 5 bands that are jealous of each other, and they all don't know it because they're too busy being mad, you know? It's like, how does that work? But
yeah, it's like everybody's like that nervous 5th grader that wants to go dance with the girl on the other side of the gym, but they're too cool or nervous or jealous to go over there and just be like, what's up, brother? And that's the guy that I always was. I would get myself worn out during the other band's sets before I even went on stage and played, because I wanted to be that dude that was hyping everybody up, letting you know, hey, there's somebody out here that's feeling you, man. I know what it's like to play for an empty room. I know what it's like to play, for thousands of people, but at the same time, I'm gonna rock just as hard regardless of who's here, because I love what's going on. And that my old band was called Dalani, and it was an acronym for Don't Act Like You're Not Impressed. So there was a lot of people that thought that we were cocky assholes, but that's just that was just the image that we put off. We were really all a lot of down to earth guys that just loved to have a good time and loved the scene. And we acted like everything we had and did was the most ballin' shit ever, even though we all lived in a shed that was like 24 by 18, and we had a minivan that we toured around in with all of our gear and us in, and like we all plug and played, and I had a drum pile, not a drum kit. Like, it was, and then we'd roll up and our name was Don't Act Like You're Not Impressed. And then we'd get up on stage with all of our plug-and-play gear and just rock people's faces off, man. But it was just because of the passion and the stage presence and things that we had. And we stayed, we kept our music and everything out of the scene and out of playing shows for about probably a year and a half to almost 2 years before we perfected everything. And we jammed like 8 hours a day because we all lived together.
Right.
And I was the only one with a job, so they all had time to jam while I wasn't there. And I was the drummer and the front man. So when I come back home, I jump behind the drum set and just start beating away to the new stuff, and we just take off.
Yeah, that's like you said, man. I think that's just the moral of the story, I guess, is everybody is jealous and everybody is too scared to say anything, and everybody doesn't want to. You don't want to let your guard down and say, "Oh, good set, man." You don't want to be that guy because you're too busy worried about your own ego, But that's the thing. It's like, I know what it's like to play in front of a crowd of 4 people who aren't clapping when I'm clapping along. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
if I ever see bands who are asking for participation, it's like, dude, it doesn't matter if they're good. It doesn't matter if people don't like them. It doesn't matter about none of that stuff. We have to participate in each other's stuff. So if they're asking for a clap along, I'm clapping along. My wife is clapping along. There's people, we have to do it just because, not because we like them or because they're actually deserving of it or whatever you want to say. We just do it because we're here to support each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand it, that like the people that are just there in the crowd as music listeners and appreciators that don't make music, they don't understand that their energy feeds the people on stage. And so, it's kind of a give and take relationship. And if you can't give them what they're, at least what they're worth for showing up and plugging their stuff in, even if it's not a good set, there's no way that anybody ever wants to be on stage and feel like they just want to get to their last song.
Yep, for real.
Like, I think it's something that's it's a almost like a language barrier or a culture barrier, because we all speak different ways about things because of being musicians or artists or things like that, and they're just people that appreciate it or that are just there because they enjoy the scene. Yeah.
Dude, that's actually funny that you say that. This is not related to the music scene necessarily, but I was thinking just a couple days ago, I wonder what it would be like to listen to some of this music that's coming out these days without being a musician at all. Because every time I hear a new song or a new album, I'm thinking about that guitar part was so cool, the drums doing this stuff, but like, what if I could just enjoy it without analyzing what's going on? It would probably be way better, I think. Because every time I hear a song anywhere, I'm like, oh my God, that drum part was too slow, or God, the riff is kind of cool, but it could be better. Like, you're picking everything apart, because I do the same thing with my own music, but it's like I wonder if I could just shut that, if you could like just hit a button and turn that off for a day and just feel like the raw energy of an album without having to analyze every part, it'd probably be way better. So in that regard, everyone who's at a show who doesn't play music, man, you guys got it good. You know what I mean? You just get to enjoy it without overthinking it or analyzing it or overthinking stuff, you know?
Now, do you think that goes the opposite way too, to where you think they've got it good? Well, what if they wished that they had the talent that we have and could pick things apart like that? And what if that makes us appreciate it on a greater level, not only for the composition as a whole, but their talents as an artist or a musician and things like that? Like, there's two sides to the coin. How do you feel about it in that direction?
I feel like you're probably dead on 100%, man. It's, everyone thinks the grass is greener on the other side, you know, but really they want to be able to analyze it, but they can't, you know, so it is what it is. But and like I said, I'm not necessarily complaining. It's just something I thought about. Like, I can't even remember the last time I listened to a song or an album just to listen to the music. I'm mostly listening to the guitar parts, the drum parts, or, oh man, the vocals are kind of tuned weird or whatever. I haven't enjoyed music because it's music in a long time, you know what I mean?
It's hard for you to simply enjoy it because you're so passionate about it.
Right, I'm just too busy thinking about the parts, analyzing whatever. But like you said, it definitely goes both ways, and the people who cannot analyze it, I'm sure a lot of them wish they could or want to be able to anyway. But
I had one of my buddies the other day, when you mentioned the grass is greener on the other side. Well, around here we have, it's a big farm culture and stuff around here. And he said, people are always saying grass is greener on the other side. He's like, nobody ever stops to think it's because there ain't no livestock over there. You know, that's why it looks greener over there, because you're not walking all over it. That's what he was getting at. You know?
Yeah, no, you're right.
And I thought that was interesting, because this is a guy that, you know, when we sit around, I think he's a secret genius, but he's one of those like almost Boomhauer-ish type guys. And like everything he says though, like if you're listening, like he's spot on with what he's saying, but you got to dig through all the metaphors and bullshit to get to it. But like, right. I mean, that just
he's trying to sound smarter than he actually is and just say some fancy metaphor, but he gets it.
Yeah. And like you pick it apart and you go, damn, like, yeah. I never thought of that. Grass is greener because there ain't no cows over there. That makes sense.
3 days later, you call him and you're like, shit, man, I remember what you said 3 days ago. You had it, but it took me 3 days to figure it out, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of those guys that pops in randomly, like, almost every day. Like, I'll just hear my door open, and I just know it's him. Like, I've known him, like, we grew up together, and he's just an all-around good dude, but it's like, when he says stuff, like, he really hits the nail on the head. You just got to be able to speak his language.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, man, like, so, is the music that you guys are writing, like, that genre that you guys are playing, is that your favorite genre to listen to, or is that just something that you enjoy writing? Because it's different for me.
It is different for you. Is that true?
Yeah. I enjoy a little bit of everything, man. I do R&B, hip hop, folk, blues, metal, punk. Like I've got so many projects going all the time because I can't settle, and I play all the instruments and do vocals, so I can't pick what one to be. So I'm about 75% on all of them, and I wish I could just pick one thing and be like 110 at it, man. But I usually end up being a drummer and a vocalist because those are always things that are hard to find.
Right. No, I would like to say that I enjoy all good music, and I do. I listen to some of everything, you know, a little bit of this and that, country, hip hop, pop, whatever. But I think all four of us, our bass player Josh, he's kind of like a pop punk kid, and this is kind of like a secondary thing. But all the rest of us, dude, I mean, it's metal, gent, all this, you know, heavy stuff, beat down, all day, every day. I love it. I can't get enough. It's great. Same with those other two guys. It's like our favorite thing. So I would say I enjoy, you know, if we're in the car with my wife and she's got the radio on, I can listen to some pop or whatever. But if I get to pick, it's always metal, almost all the time, just because there's so much good stuff out there, and I like all of it. So it is my favorite thing, but I think that is kind of a blessing and a curse for writing it, because I listen to a lot of it, so I know what's cool and I know what people are liking right now. But at the same time, I can't write anything else that's not related to this, because it's all I listen to, you know? So, like, it would be nice to write pop music or to write something a little lighter, even in the context of this band, just to have some more sounds. That'd be great, but I don't listen to enough of any other music to really be able to do that. Not because I don't like it, but just I'm so enamored with, I think, the production of modern metal and just the crazy stuff that people are doing, all the drum stuff, all the guitar. There's so much crazy, talented people out here, man. It's like I can't get enough of all this talent, and not, you know, the songwriting talent. Anybody can have songwriting talent. You can have pop punk people that write talented songs, or pop people who write good songs. But this, you combine the songwriting talent with the actual instrument talent of shredding guitar, playing drums like crazy. I just can't get enough of that stuff, man.
And see, for me, as far as a writing perspective, it's way different. I don't listen to a whole lot of new stuff as far as metal and hardcore. I'm stuck in between 2001 and like 2009 in music, and I've been there. It's a good
time, dude. It's a good time.
Yeah, that was the time. I kind of sound like my dad, you know, repping the 80s, because I grew up on 80s hair metal and jumped right into that stuff, you know. Yeah. But like, that's how I haven't listened to anything really. Like, I check out a lot of underground bands, and I used to hit up a lot of shows and things, but yeah. I quit following people. I quit, you know, digging into it, and I pretty much just listen to a lot of underground stuff, local stuff, and whatever I'm working on. And I think it gives me the edge on being a little more original, you know, and maybe not having that cookie cutter sound, but at the same time, like,
right.
I might miss some of the important trends and things like that you keep up on.
Well, and like I said, it is kind of a blessing and a curse, because I'm always trying to like keep up with the trends, like you said, whatever. But dude, I can't stop thinking about how we're not as good as this band that just came out, or we're not as good as that band. We don't sound like these other bands. So how are we going to stay relevant? You know, but that doesn't really matter. We're just doing what we like, and it's fun. You know, that's the thing. Some people, we have some friends in a band called Sleepwaker, and they just got signed to a big label, and they're going on tour all summer, and they're doing some big things, and that's cool. I'm really happy for them, but dude, we're all old and married. We're not going on tour for 6 weeks, 8 weeks in the summertime. I'm just not doing it. Like, I got a real job. We can't. So for us, this is just kind of like a weekend. Let's play a couple cool shows, open for some cool bands, maybe have a music video or two, just for us, you know what I mean? So I got to get away from, like you said, the competition part. I'm just trying to keep up with the Joneses, I guess, of like these last 10 bands put out this exact same sound. We have to do that, you know, but we don't really have to do that. We just do what we like, have a little bit of fun. If people like it, cool. If people don't like it, that's also cool. This is mostly just for us, you know what I mean?
My dad would always say stuff like, if you stay relevant to yourself, so will your fans.
Yeah. There's definitely something to be said for artist authenticity. If everybody in the band is on the same page with whatever music you're doing, as long as everybody's being authentic, being 100% real, being not afraid to show what you like, that speaks for itself to some degree. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that, for me,
a lot of people respect that.
Yes. And for me, like, since I play so many different genres and with so many different people and things, I see a lot of different aspects of all the different, you know, groupings of people or genre, not barriers, but just like cliques, like you were talking about earlier, with different things within different scenes. And like, it's weird that I've got people that I grew up with most of my life that I make 3 different kinds of music with. And then I've got people that I just met specifically to go over there and play music with them, you know, and we have similar relationships when it comes to music just because we speak music, you know, and we all want to be, we're all lifers. So we're all going to have that openness and that creativeness just flowing all the time. Like there's no, well, I don't want to cause any trouble here. No, this is where I'm going to be. Like I'm too old to be jumping around. We're not going to be touring. You know, like there's no reason that we couldn't just be the next band that's been together for 50 years. I don't care if we ever get famous, but we were famous to us.
Right. Well, and that's, you know, like I said, this is, for us, we all know this isn't anything serious. Nothing's going to happen. We don't have a goal of getting X amount of fans or having the 3 label albums or whatever. We're just having fun, man. If we can do some cool stuff, play a couple cool shows, maybe go on a weekend tour here and there, that's all that really matters for us, and we're happy doing that. And some people think, you know, I've had a lot of people say, well, if you guys want to be taken more seriously, you have to, you know, your singer has to dress different, or you guys got to have more singing, or all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I understand. I get that, but you guys are missing the point. We're not trying to do anything, so I don't really care if we dress a little funny or someone doesn't do this or the music isn't as good as you think it's going to be. So sorry, I mean, it is what it is, but that's not our goal, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, see that, and that's what I've been hearing my whole life too from people around here, because if it's not like classic rock or country, it doesn't exist around here really. And people always like, oh, well, I like the music, but you should sing. I can't understand what you're saying, or this or that. And they just weren't getting it. And, you know, I think that's where it comes down being a good deal for you guys to kind of jump on with us, because that's kind of how we flow. It's all relaxed. You do what you want to do, and we'll push it as hard as you want to push it. Yeah. You know, and that's how we all are. Like most of us are fathers, you know, and or have like jobs that keep us from doing, you know, so much with everything. And this is our kind of speed for stuff. We can just get our own schedule and have things rolling out, you know, with as much help as you need on whatever time frame you can work with.
Yep, that definitely makes sense. Dude, you sound like my parents, man. Everyone, it would be better if you guys sing. Why don't you guys have singing? I like the music. I just don't like the vocals. God, it sounds like my fucking parents, dude. It's like nobody understands. Like, yes, I know you don't like my grandma. She's always like, oh, I kind of like the CD, but I can't listen to the songs because there's too many yelling. I'm like, Grandma, I know, but we like it. That's just what we're doing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you don't like it. Like, no offense, but like, dude, I can't please everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, my grandma's the same way. She always buys everything and goes to everything. But she was like, I love the music. I love what you're doing. I'm very proud of you. You're extremely talented. I love you, but I can't stand the vocals. And she was always telling me that I had the perfect voice to sing country music. And I told her that I would rather play songs like the way I like them in someone's bathroom for free for the rest of my life than be famous and play country music. And
yeah, dude, you squandered your fame, bro, because all you did was scream instead of sing, man. What'd you do that for?
Well, see, when I started Plum Tuckered Out, it's like a folk blues kind of band. And when I started Plum Tuckered Out, that's when she really got on board, because I was singing old-timey stuff, you know, as foot stomping, clapping, and I'm just getting it the whole time. Right. And that she comes to almost every show. She sings along and whistles and hoops and hollers, and she's really proud of that. But she just
your grandma's thinking, dude, he finally figured it out. He got it.
Yeah, and that's what my dad says too. Even though the metal stuff grew on him, because I lived in the apartment that was right across the drive from where they were, and that's where we jammed. And we were out in the middle of nowhere, and so we would always turn up to 11 and just jam whenever we wanted. And since I grew up in an atmosphere like that, it was cool. And my dad, at first, he was like, I don't get it. And then at the end of all of it, he was like, I get it. He's like, he's like, that was some good stuff. He's like, I get it. He's like, we had screamers in my day too. He's like, you guys are just doing it lower, you know?
Yeah, it's, you know, it's all the same thing. It's like, I think about the music our parents listened to and my grandparents listened to, and, you know, it obviously doesn't sound the same, but the concept, the idea that it's so far ahead of their time and it's so much crazier than anything they heard before, that's still the same thing as it is today. It's just a little different sound because we've evolved from then, you know, but.
Yeah. Oh, Hold on a second, man.
You're good.
All right. Oh, shoot. Man, it's been great talking to you. Like it's good to put a face to the voice and really sit down and dig into some stuff.
Definitely.
How long we been running? Do you have a time on that?
I actually do not. I think like 40-ish minutes, 45-ish minutes, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to plug? Any shows or releases or anything like that you want to talk about?
I guess only the Tormentor video. That's our most recent thing. We're writing some new stuff right now and planning on going back to the studio here. You know, I don't know how you do releases and stuff, but we've been talking about, you know, the thing nowadays is bands need consistent content all the time because everything is so social media based and there's so much going on. You need to be almost releasing stuff every week, every month, you know what I mean? So we're kind of going over with some ideas with us about maybe instead of doing an album ever again, we would just do like one single with a music video every 3 or 4 months. So there's a new song every quarter and it has a new video, and we'll either do like a drum playthrough or a regular music video or whatever. But we've kind of been discussing that model as opposed to, okay, let's write an album and we'll put out 8 songs and then we'll put that on a CD and then we'll play shows for a year and then we'll start writing new songs. Like, we're always working on stuff. So for us, we could just work on a song, release it 2 months later, have a video, and then we could just start the next song and kind of keep the content rolling. So I guess all I can say is check out Tormentor on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook. All of our music is on Google Play, Spotify, whatever. And then just keep an eye out because we are looking to release more content here before summer, probably pretty quick here. So just doing a lot of stuff, you know, trying to keep it busy, keep it rolling, keep stuff moving out, just keep people focused on us instead of losing focus because we put out an album and we're not going to do anything for 8 months after that.
Yeah. See, that's the platform style of releasing that we've tried to stay with. We try to find a happy medium where we keep out regular content coming out with single releases, playthroughs. That's what the covers and collabs are for. Then we have music videos that come out, and then we still, most of the guys in the family are on board with just about what you were talking about doing, but still thinking about releasing like EPs or albums, or taking like compiling all of the ones that they've released as singles and then releasing them as an album or an EP or things like that to keep it kind of in between, because there's a lot of people from the old school that still want a physical copy of your stuff. So if you could offer that too, but maybe not push it as hard and maybe center things around singles and the digital downloads and streams and things, that's where you're gonna, I think, be really, really in like the meat and taters of all of it.
Yeah, it is a hard industry to figure out, man. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's moving so fast, you know. But like you said, I think there is enough old-fashioned people still that the physical release, or at least a CD, you know, if you go on Spotify and there's, you know, 27 singles, it's kind of hard to follow, you know. So if you have, you know, we thought about just like, this album is called 2019, and this album has all 4 songs so we put out this year. This album is called 2020. We have 4 songs from 2020 on there. Something so that people can find, you know, some kind of grouping of what we've been working on, not just like a bunch of singles or, printing them in physical copies. I don't really know. Because you could do an EP every year. There's a lot of options. But our drummer, David, he's like super old-fashioned. He still doesn't use Spotify. He still downloads all of his music, still has an iPod, like doesn't use his phone for nothing. And he's like all about like no streaming. Let's just get physical copies, get CDs. I'm like, dude, I understand that appeals to you, but like there are, I don't know the split, but it has to be like half and half or more than half of the people don't even use, like, I'll buy a CD at a show to support the bands.
Yeah.
And then I'll like throw it in the backseat of my car and never open it because I don't actually use the CD. I'm buying it to support people. I'll just stream it or whatever. But it's like, I would rather just give you $10 and not take the CD because I'm not going to use it anyway. And, you know, for us, we're all married. We're trying not to spend too much money on this music stuff.
Yeah.
If I could not have to buy a bunch of physical CDs to sell for $5 a piece, that would probably be good. But at the same time, I understand there is still a market for that. And like I said, the split, I don't know the split. It's obviously more than 90-10, but, you know, is it 50-50? 50-50 of people who go to shows still want a physical disc? I don't know. Probably. Somewhere in there, you know?
Yeah, the one thing that we discussed is maybe doing release runs and having like pre-orders, so that way you know what your money's going to be. And you can still satisfy everyone who wants a physical copy. And then maybe do like a run, you know, once a month, do a run. You got all month to order. We'll get your order in. We'll do the run. And then for the next month, you got a whole month to figure it out if you want something from the family, anybody. Right. And we'll get it figured out and we'll get it to you. You know, I know that most people are wanting the digital downloads and the streams and things like that. But there are still a lot of old school guys out there that appreciate the footwork and the physical copies. And I'm the same way with people when they're like, oh man, take a CD. I'm like, listen, man, like if I can just listen to it on my phone, like I totally appreciate what you're doing, but you keep that for somebody who's gonna take it, because I'll just or if I do take it, I'll just give them like, you know, a $20 bill and just be like, keep the change, man. Like, you know, you do your thing. I'm here to support you. That's why I'm here. You know. I wanted to come over, tell you a good set, and I wanted to buy whatever I could get over here in my size.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, our drummer David, like I said, he's pretty old-fashioned. I get a lot of shit from him because I just built a computer for audio and stuff, and I didn't even put a damn CD drive in the computer because I don't ever use a CD drive. But this guy's like, oh, how are you going to download software? How are you going to put music on it? I'm like, dude, I don't even use a CD file. I don't need that. But, you know, it's funny because there have been a few times where I wish I would have had a CD drive so I could do a couple things here and there. I'm like, well, I mean, the world as a whole is still old-fashioned enough where using a CD drive is probably important. So it is just kind of a funny dichotomy, I guess, the two sides. He's so old-fashioned. I'm so like, no more physical CDs, stream everything, download everything, no more discs, none of that stuff. But there is still a market for that for sure.
I'm the guy that still has cassettes and 8-tracks and vinyl and VHS and VCRs.
Oh man!
I've still got all that stuff, and I still listen or watch things on those things. Like they all work real nice. I mean, I'm starting to get caught up. Like I was one of those guys that just like boycotted technology for the longest time. I ran the same equipment and the same gear for like over a decade, and then like I didn't have a smartphone up until into 2017, and like
just like David, dude, just like David.
Yeah, so I totally see where he's coming from. You know, like I don't know, maybe I've got more of an excuse because I live in a village, but you know, but I was just comfortable doing things the way that I do them. And I get a system, I figure out what works, I figure out my system as best as I can, and then I can get whatever I want out of it, you know. And then I've just recently had another kick in the ass from everybody in the Shed Rat family. All the guys just always calling me old and, you know, and making fun of me for how I do things. But at the same time, they compliment what I send in and what I add to things. So I'm like, you know, I get what you guys are saying. But, like, I know what I want out of my stuff, and I know how to get it out of what I have. Right. So I've kind of met them in the middle, and I've upgraded with, you know, more compressors and different things, you know, preamp stuff and things like that. And I've got a whole wall of things to experiment with in there as far as amps and guitars. And I've got, like, 5 different drum sets, and I'm getting an electric kit. Like, I'm trying to really dive into what's going to be best for me now that I'm a full-grown adult, and I can do that.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. I definitely get that. No, that's if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So what you got, then just keep working with it, man. It don't matter if it's old or too new or people don't like it or it's too fancy. Just if you can work with it and you like it, just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, I've never been much of a gear whore or, one to keep with the times as far as like, I have friends that buy the newest iPhone every time it comes out. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And I never really got it. And I'm trying to, like I said, educate myself from both sides, because since I am in the position now of, like heading up the company and like making sure everybody's happy and like knowing what's going on, I try to educate myself with everybody's,
Right.
With everybody's structure or like gear or how they do things. So that way I can be more helpful in different directions. And it's really helped me out a lot, just listening in on conversations and looking at things that people are posting and stuff. And it's just the fact that we all share that in one group now together as those things, and we're all learning from each other, I think is probably the most positive thing that we've gotten done.
Yeah, man, I think the community aspect is probably the most valuable thing for any group, for anything, anywhere. If you can have a community around you doing the same thing, only benefit can come from that, really. So I'm with you, man, 100%.
All right, man. Well, I think we're about ready to wrap this bad boy up. I'm going to get ready for shooting another one here in a little bit. I really appreciate having you on. Thanks for taking the time. I'm really stoked to have you guys be part of the family.
Glad to be a part of it, man.
Everybody out there, make sure to check out Silence and Solace and their music video for Tormentor. It's out on YouTube, Facebook, any other platforms you want to plug?
I think that's about it, man. It's actually not even on Facebook. We just have a link on Facebook to go to YouTube. So check it out on YouTube. All the music's on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Music, all the regular stuff. And like I said, give the Facebook page a like and keep up with us, because we're putting out some new stuff here pretty soon. So,
all right, well, stick around for the next episode, guys. Be coming soon. Till then, check out the featured band, Vilest Breed. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by. I really enjoyed that. We're going to try and make this more of a regular thing for everybody.